I know that the provincial government that we have in BC, yeah, I mean they gave a nice little chunk to the climate action credit back, but persons with disabilities they obviously haven't really had a fair shake on the rate increases for sure too. I mean because of high cost of living, and I know they tout themselves right of saying, well, yeah, but we gave them $150 last year. Oh, that was last year. The cost of living has gone up so high, and yeah, I mean especially in BC, right? It's the cost of living, and I wanted both of your take and Adam's take on that. Like, where do you see that with them kind of passing the buck, saying, well, touting like, hey, well, we gave them a rate increase last year, it should be good enough.
If I may just jump in here, Sonia,
Yeah.
I'd just like to provide a little perspective on this, because I think, I was talking about this earlier in our caucus meeting, that this is a government that has fallen into the trap of governing by announcement.
Hmm.
And so, you should feel privileged that they've shared $30 with you or $115. It doesn't matter when a government is governing by announcement. They're scoring points. We've got a positive announcement today. We've got a positive announcement tomorrow. We're going to do a positive announcement the next day. It doesn't matter if when you add all to them, that if you add all this up, it doesn't amount to the kind of supports that people need in order to be able to survive in the society that this government and previous governments have created through their policy. So we have a situation here where what they want you to feel is grateful because they keep making these announcements, but there's no real evaluation. We were talking about this earlier. There's no real evaluation as to whether or not that's having a meaningful impact on your life. So I think that we need to get away from the politics, because that's ultimately what this is about. It's about making sure that they're able to stand up in the next election and say, well, don't you remember, we
Hmm.
gave you relief, $114 that we forced ICBC to pay, or $30 that we've increased. And there's a bill later today about, the child care benefits increase, a very short term, 3 months. They want you to feel positive about that. They don't really want you to think about, what are the outcomes of this? They're
Hmm.
just very short term, not long term. So I really think that we've fallen into the trap in this legislature of being more concerned about electability, and we see it on both sides, on all sides of the house. I'll say what government needs to be focusing on is
Yeah.
governing, and that is not putting out these short-term solutions. This is about major structural change in a system that is in many ways, whether it be about the environment or supporting people with disabilities or supporting Indigenous rights, or however we want to look at it, whatever demographic we want to address. There needs to be structural change, because we're seeing the collapse of the systems that we've relied on for the last several decades.
Oh, absolutely, Adam. I totally agree with you on
Hmm.
that. Yeah, it's all about their choices. And I noticed that, remember before, they always ran on that word choices. It's all about choices. It's like the choices that they make, right? Or it's like yeah, they need to change that for sure, because it can be changed for sure. I totally
Hmm.
agree with you.
Yeah, and Adam is always so eloquent and
Oh, yeah.
amazing, and I think just to reinforce that what we need to be measuring are the outcomes that we get with government investments, government policies, where money's going, and we've long been advocating for genuine progress indicators into the budgeting processes. We can see countries that do well-being budgets, which really measure are these investments that governments are making improving the well-being of people, improving the well-being of the environment, and that's what we need to be measuring is the money the government's spending getting to outcomes that are really focused on people and the environment and the conditions. And when we have, as Adam points out,
Yeah.
government by announcement, oh, we put $500 million into here, we put $10 million into there,
Yeah.
but there's no indication of like, and here's how we're going to measure the success of those investments. Here's how we're going to know if they were the right investments. Here's right. That's what is lacking. And when, that's the politics versus governance piece. The governance piece really needs to be focused on how are we measuring whether we are serving the people effectively.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and it all comes down to the end result is making life like truly
Mm-hmm.
affordable for people, and really focusing as some of them will call it, the lens. I mean, on and I it's on the actual situation, and come with concrete solutions, not like they'll say, oh well, we want to study it or something. It's like, well, it's like kind of putting it off to another rainy day and saying, well, we'll get to it eventually. And it's definitely, I think the opportunities there to make things a lot better for
Mm-hmm.
people. And I guess on the other topic too, Sonia, is the Canada Disability Benefit.
Mm.
I'm concerned with well, of course, nobody really knows too much of the details right now. They're working on it. It just got put into committee, which is yay. I mean, that's great. I guess it's about the clawbacks, about
Mm-hmm.
and of course, our government's known for so many clawbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's going to be an interesting saga going forward.
Yeah, this is really critical, and it was part of our platform in 2020 is to get rid of those clawbacks. It is such a terrible policy approach to supporting people with disabilities. Like it really, I cannot see the logic in it. I do not understand why governments are so insistent on really what is fundamentally a controlling and paternalizing kind of approach. And getting rid of those clawbacks is critical. We will be watching this bill as it moves through quite with a lot of interest and attention. And we will be pushing the provincial government to ensure that they are stepping up in the realms that they have. And I encourage everyone to tune in to question period next week, and we're going to be raising a lot of issues around the social programs in this province and the ways in which they are really not meeting the needs of people. The policies are detrimental and
Well,
need
well,
change.
Well, especially with like it's going to take them quite a while to work out the CDB, Canada Disability Benefit. It's not going to get done overnight, and so I know a lot of us were calling for. I've seen a hashtag on Twitter. I think somebody tried getting it to trend. I'll have to kind of give it a push or two. It's called DIRB, a Disability Emergency Response.
Benefits.
Benefit, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's DERB, yeah, and I guess that's another word for it, but yeah, and that's rightfully so, right? Because people are suffering, and I mean, if they have to wait 3 years, I mean, my gosh, I would not want to see the outcome. People having to wait longer than they need to, and yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully BC may be able to take a lead and top things up in the meantime. While they get that going, other provinces will follow suit, like Ontario. Like their rates are just so low, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, our cost of living is high in BC, but in comparison, it's like I know Ontario's is getting up there too. And again, like you mentioned, Sonia, it's a political decision. I want to thank you so much, Sonia, for taking the time and coming on and talking about these very important conversations that we're having to make things better for people, in general, and people with disabilities in BC, and for the ones that are in other parts of the country that are on the call today. Because when positive things happen in BC, it's like a trickle down effect to
Mm-hmm.
other provinces too, and everybody will benefit with positive changes and collectively bringing the all the problems forward and dealing with them effectively and
Mm-hmm.
holding the governments to account for because I was watching on the news this morning about a few things, and just to conclude it, and I was listening to CKNW, and they were talking about, it's like he said, she said, and I had Mike Smith that was on. I don't know if you heard, but they were like saying they had Kevin Falcon on, and I was like, well, yeah, like rather than doing the blame game, but it's like kind of like throwing it back and forth. They were talking about mental health stuff, and yeah, like it's so hard, right? That's another topic in another day. But
Mm-hmm.
I just think the best the BC government has ever been is when you had the power share agreement between the Greens and the NDP. That was awesome.
Oh yeah.
I want to see way more of that. Except I want to see you guys driving the bus though, actually, more than the NDP,
exactly, Sonia. Is that because now it's like they think they don't have to do anything now, right?
Yeah.
And that's like so frustrating. But I won't. I know you have to go. So I won't. Won't
Well,
delay
thank you, Brent and Neil. To your point there, let's make that happen again. I agree, and it is the best when governments have to work across party lines when the focus is on really transparent, accountable outcomes, and that's what was in the confidence and supply agreement, and we can make that happen. We need your help. It's a bus full of people, and Brent, always a pleasure. Invite us back. We're always so delighted to have these conversations.